Senator Sessions, did you want to say anything before we go to a vote?
Yes, I would just maybe offer for the record some of the comments I had on a few specific issues and address the idea of judicial activism. For those who stayed through the hearing and heard the testimony of the witnesses, both for Ms. Kagan and those against her, the cases that were raised repeatedly in argument, the Citizens United case or the Ledbetter case, the witnesses all consistently demolished the argument that those are activist cases. We are, in fact, facing a national decision about our courts. There are two views of the courts. One is the judge as a neutral umpire. That's what I was taught. We were taught all along. I see Senator Schumer smiles and laughs. He thinks this is ridiculous to discuss that a judge could be a nuclear.
Was mentioned. It's just whose definition of neutral. Many of us think Citizens United was not the definition of a neutral umpire.
All right.
That's all.
Well, we had witnesses that testified that even for the nominee who believed that was not an activist decision. It was not, in my view. We all have to be responsible for our views. I get elected, I've got a view. I've studied the law, I participated in it for a long time. I think the Supreme Court in Citizens United looked at the First Amendment to the Constitution and said Congress has no power to deny a group of citizens the right to run an ad attacking some politician or even publishing a book. You can limit how much money they can give, but you can't keep them from speaking. This is a serious issue. So there's this view. The other view is, it's grown quite prominent in the many of the great law schools and by some judges, is that a judge should be activist. This should be celebrated. The president said a judge should show empathy. He said that he looks for judges who will allow their vision for what America should be to influence how they make decisions about the law and the facts of the case before them. To me, that's not law, not in the American tradition of law. That's politics. That's something else than law and the facts. It's not good. I'm not for it. Well, everybody has to make tough decisions in these cases. I understand. Judges not always going to agree. But I have to tell you, I think the American people understand that a complex, poorly drafted statute that by Congress that failed to adequately describe when the statute of limitations runs, and Supreme Court wrestling with how to describe that, that's not activism. So I would just say that I don't agree with that thing. I think the American people have got it. They know that we have judges who feel like when the case is something that's close, as the president said, maybe 20% or so, that the judge can allow their personal feelings to influence how they decide the cases. So it's a big, big issue, and I think that we have a glorious legal system. The greatest threat to it, the greatest threat to the independence of the federal judiciary, which I support and believe in, is judges who become political and see they have a right to advance a political agenda. This can undermine the respect of the American people for the institution as an independent entity. And the oath that they take is that judges should be impartial, do equal justice to the poor and the rich, and to serve under the Constitution and laws of the United States, not above it. So this is what this is all about, and we have to wrestle with this nominee as to whether or not she fully understands that and would be in the mainstream of law with regard to these areas. Is her philosophy such that she would be an activist? And based on who her judicial heroes are, her actions throughout her life and the political nature of her background, I've concluded that she cannot be the kind of justice the court needs, and therefore I would oppose the nomination.